battery at some point.
Did you staple those other ones?
I did.
Well, we don't need to have them unless we need to.
Superintendent, are you ready? All right, we've got some technical difficulties being resolved, but
Okay.
we're going to call this meeting to order. The Emory Unified
It's somewhere in the back.
School District Governing Board. Could we have a roll call, please, Ms. Tamery?
Member Collins-Rogers?
Present.
Member Ash?
Here.
Member Merriam?
Yes, here.
Member Pats?
Present.
President Affel?
Here. All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Do we have any public comment on items not on our agenda tonight? Okay. Do we have a report from the ETA? And if you need more time, we can circle back. If you're still copying? Yeah? Prefer that? Okay.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Mr. Davis, you want to, your partner wants to get a little more time for copying, so.
Oh, okay. We
do you
can
mind
wait.
if we'll skip
Sure.
on to the superintendent's report and. CSEA here? Oh, excellent. We're going to go to the CSEA report. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We apologize for not coming to the meeting, but as you see, we're in a new building, and we're here. There's no report for the CSEA, but we are still in negotiation, and I want to say, as soon as we get some more time in, we'll come back. But I am Grace Smith. I'm a shop steward for the CSEA, but also I'm in food service. And I can tell you about food service, okay. Everything's okay. Only thing I wish that I'd like to see more president of the board come in during lunchtime to see the children and mingle with the children, and let them know that, you know, this is a good school, the lunch program is good, which they know that, but still, I'd like to see a little bit more of you come in, if you have time, mingle with the children during the lunch hour. And the most time I would like to see you really is at lunchtime, not working around the school, lunchtime. So you'll know how the kids are doing at lunch.
All right, Ms. Gracie.
Thank you, Ms. Gracie.
Always appreciate your letting us know what we need to be doing.
Any questions?
No, I think we're good.
You good?
I think we're good.
Okay. I do want to ask, y'all should ask some questions, how the kitchen is doing. How things are going well in the kitchen. We have our little flaws, but you know, we work through it. We need to have some questions coming from the board. We have not had any questions come from the board. Do y'all know anything?
I've seen it.
Okay.
We've been there. We can't add an agenda item like kitchen or food spontaneously, but it's a good topic for a future board meeting.
Good. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Grace. Superintendent's report?
Yes, good evening. For the majority of my report, I just want to address an incident that occurred last week to the community and to the board. As you may likely know, we had an incident last week where a student and a parent or guardian were walking down the street leaving school on San Pablo Avenue, and a homeless gentleman started yelling at the parent regarding their child, and the gentleman did say some inappropriate and threatening things to the parent and then ran off. I wanted to make sure I made a statement tonight that we work very hard at the school district to make sure our students are handed off to their parents and guardians safely. We did that last Friday, as we normally do. I know we can't stop a homeless person or someone on the street from running up to one of our parents or students as they walk through the city or they're leaving the campus. However, I want everyone to know we're going to continue to be vigilant in our work to continue to make sure our students are safe when on campus and when we're handing them off to parents or guardians. I want to also share what we did last week after we learned of the incident. First, we spoke immediately to city staff and to the Emeryville Police Department because we want to make sure we have clear lines of communication between the city, the Emeryville Police Department, and the school district so we can get information to us as quickly as possible so then we can get that information to parents as quickly as possible. I know in this instance the police apprehended the individual almost immediately after they were called and that they determined there was no immediate danger to anyone at the school. I also want to take a moment to say thank you to the Emeryville Police Department for such a great rapid response and responding so quickly and apprehending the man on the street. Secondly, I wanted you to know that we wanted to ensure that our younger students made sure that they understood, we wanted to make sure they understood that they were safe while on our school campus. We are very happy to have a police officer go with us from classroom to classroom with Ms. Lang and other staff and myself to remind our students that it's part of their teacher's job to keep them safe at school. And it's every employee's job at the school district, including mine and the principal, to keep them safe, and that the police work together with us to keep our students safe while here and also while on the streets. We reminded the students of all the gates that we have that are now online that lock automatically at a certain time, and we are collecting all the cones that were lying around so that we can try to make sure we don't have any community members or staff propping open doors. And we reminded the students that there are surveillance cameras all over the campus. We also took this opportunity to address the clown hoaxes that many of you have probably heard about around the country, and to reassure students that there were no clowns at the school, nor would there be any coming to our school. And third, I met with our staff and reviewed our safety procedures, and we're continuing to do that. And they are continuing to move forward on their safety work and scheduling drills as planned for next week. And we are looking at adding another staff person outside to watch students and parents as they're crossing the street and leaving. So I just wanted to make that part of my report this evening to the board and to the community and let you know we're doing everything we can as we should be doing. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent, for that report. I think we're now ready for the ETA report. Okay.
Thank you. Mark Davis, President of ETA. And the only thing I really have to report is that Friday, same Friday, I did meet with Dr. Rubio, and we did go over a list of items that were either in process or needed to be looked at. That list has been updated. I know that some of the problem is the vendors. You know, for instance, furnace, kind of internal workings of the school. So that has been looked at. It's going forward. I think we're trying to be realistic that this is a big project, and I know how construction goes, slow. But we're trying to get, hopefully, the heat regulated before the cold really gets in. Other than that, kind of a follow-up to Alvin Burns' presentation. Lauren LaPlante is going to kind of talk about a different aspect of the safety on campus. Not really dealing with the building, but just a different view of it. Okay.
Hi, Lauren LaPlante, ETA Treasurer. We were going to do a PowerPoint, but we didn't submit it in time. So we had some handouts. I hope they're legible. This is very appropriate to follow up on some of Dr. Rubio's comments. ETA just wanted to share information beyond just safety in the building, but some things that we're looking forward to in terms of resources to improve school safety. So I just put a little bit of information together so that people can be aware of some of the types of crises that we respond to in the district. I have information about some mental health crisis situations last year that I was involved, or people related to wellness, with 35 incidents, most of which were related to students having suicidal thoughts, child abuse types of concerns, and occasionally threats or other types of mental health concerns. And it's something that I don't know that people are always aware of in terms of the response, and most of the times those are resolved without incident. This year, as already referenced, we had an alleged attempted kidnapping, a scare with creepy clowns, an assault on campus and we've done suicide assessments, a threat assessment, and dealt with some CPS issues. So it brings up a question that Christian Patz brought up, I think, at the last board meeting about having a conversation about having a school resource officer. Just for background information, this is my 10th year in the district. When I first got here, we did have an SRO, Officer White. I worked with him many, many, many times on many incidents that were able to be resolved because he knew the students, knew the families, and we were able to work collaboratively to solve a lot of problems. We also had Officer Williams for a while, who even worked with us at our campus in Santa Fe. And again, kids trusted these officers. They would tip them off about fights. They would be able to work with us in an informal fashion where there was no arrests or any kind of criminal action taken, but they were a resource to us in the school. I've personally dealt with situations where we had unknown officers show up, and those have been the most difficult and problematic when we don't have a relationship with them. They don't know kids or how to work with kids, and they don't know us. So my understanding is that we lost our SRO because of staffing issues within the police department multiple years ago. I don't know if that's true, but it's not a new thing to have an SRO in the district. Now that we're here, ECCL, city and school, K-12 on one campus, I think our needs are increased and they're all in one place. And we're a really big part of Emeryville at this time. We had a recent success on Monday when an EPD sergeant came down here, and district, site staff, and police, myself included, walked around to every class, TK to grade 8, to reaffirm safety. There was a post-survey, and 100% of teachers who were surveyed said it was effective and beneficial. And so that was a really positive and important piece for kids to see visually people in authority that they know and see police be able to do that. And so it was extremely helpful. Just to give a little bit of education about what does an SRO do, there's 3 main roles. They're a safety expert, a problem solver and liaison to community resources, and an educator. SROs are not on campus to arrest students or have any, they actually prevent those type of situations. There is some research out there about effectiveness of SROs, so some of the things that have been studied in other places with SROs: reduced offending, reduced victimization, reduced truancy, safer school environment, safer ways and routes to and from school, improvements in academics, improved multi-agency problem solving, like what happened Monday, improved police and student relationships, and generally increased peer respect. And there's a citation for that with the Center for Problem-Oriented Policing. A quote that I found is that many school administrators and parents express satisfaction with their SRO programs, even in instances when there was initial resistance to the idea of placing police officers in schools. So the ask is that we initiate whatever process or conversation needs to occur to discuss that and move forward with any kind of barriers that might be in the way, but just maybe it needs to be an agendized item. I don't know exactly the process, but let's have that conversation. And then the second ask is that ETA wants us to really prioritize completing the comprehensive school site safety plan with ETA involvement. And I know Mark submitted some names of people that are willing to participate in that, so we really all share that same concern to make our new campus safe. So that's it for that report. Thank you.
Question for you, Ms. LaPlante.
Yes.
Do you know from your conversations with the police if you've had any, if they have funding for a safety officer? Is there a desire that they know who it is they want to, or they just, because last time, you're right, they had Department of Justice funding was my recollection.
My understanding from conversations with officers in the past years was it wasn't funding, it was staffing, and they weren't fully staffed, and so they had to pull officers to patrol. Mm-hmm. So if we're fully staffed, it's definitely not a school board funded, a school district funded item. It's the police department or the city.
Right.
I could add something, just if you don't mind.
Sure.
Just what I know is that the chief of police did briefly mention this to me in passing about 4 to 6 months ago, and asked me my opinion on whether or not we would like to have something like this, and I said absolutely. I think we have a great police force. I want our students growing up to know that the police, part of their role is to keep them safe and to be there for them, and to have those relationships. My understanding, if I recall correctly, is that the chief of police may have made a request to city council, and it was turned down by city council based on their belief that police shouldn't be around children in schools, which I don't agree with.
Mhm. This is my research I've collected so far. I can share of benefits of SROs.
Can you email the PowerPoint?
I can email the PowerPoint.
It's hard to read.
I know. I'm sorry about that.
Can you email the research if that's not too much to?
I
to
could
ask?
scan it. Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
And if you guys, Ms. LaPlante, if you and Mr. Davis will let us know if you have a tech presentation, we don't always have our board up. That way we can have that available. I need to know in advance.
Perfect.
Great, thanks.
And who should anyone inform? You directly, Ms. Tamery directly?
For the setup for the board meeting,
Yeah.
Ms. Tamery.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's good to know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Now we're on to the board president's report, and I have what I've shared with most of you, some bittersweet news, but maybe news to some of you and to many of our folks watching at home. But I sent out an open letter a few days ago, and I wanted to read that here for everyone. Dear Emory Unified School District community, after 4.5 years, I will be stepping down from my service on the Emory Unified School Board at the December regular school board meeting. This year I celebrated my 25th year as a civil rights attorney working on education equity issues at Public Advocates in San Francisco. And in recognition of that service, my employer is generously providing me with a 6-month paid sabbatical beginning in January 2017. My family and I will be moving to Spain during that time, where I will study Spanish in order to better serve my monolingual Spanish-speaking clients, and where I will read, write, reflect on how to be an even more effective advocate for educational equity in California. As I'm sure you can appreciate, this is a tremendous opportunity for my family, including my son, who will be studying Spanish and attending a school as the only American in his class. And this is a time where it really is important for me to prioritize the family. The top 2 components of the platform on which I was elected were to ensure the successful implementation of the ECCL vision of a full-service community school and of the new local control funding formula. This fall, I was happy to see at long last the opening of our full-service community school site. Every student I have spoken to appreciates the substantial upgrade in their school facilities and is excited to be here. And with this project, we have done more than build a new building. In locating Anna Yates and the Emory High on the ECCL campus, we're telling our students that they too have the right to go to a modern school with green fields to play in, with the latest technology, with a school-based health center, a library, and recreational facilities to care for their needs beyond the classroom. We're telling them that the adults in this community care for them and want them to have every opportunity to achieve their full potential to graduate ready for college and career and civic engagement. We are not done with the work of fully moving into this new facility and fully maximizing its potential for our students and our community. I will continue to focus on those efforts in my time remaining, and I'm confident that the board and the superintendent will continue that important work along with the teachers, the parents, the city, and the broader community. As to implementing the new local control funding formula, I would like to continue to challenge the district to do a better job of engaging parents, teachers, and students in developing the new annual academic and spending plan required by law. Like most districts in the state, we could do a much better job of bringing community stakeholders into the conversation to shape the district's top educational priorities and actions and the spending plan to execute those actions. That said, I'm pleased with the important educational initiatives the district has implemented under its LCFF plans over the last 3 years. Compared to the 2013-14 school year, Emory Unified is now investing an additional $1.1 million every year in increased and improved services. Those funds have added, among other things, a PE teacher at Anna Yates, a music teacher at Anna Yates, a second science teacher at the high school, a new academic coach at Anna Yates, a new positive behavior intervention support coach, new English learner supports, new educational software and technology for students, and a soon-to-be hired bilingual parent outreach coordinator. All of these initiatives promise to continue to enrich the educational environment in Emory Unified. Our recent test scores show that in the 3rd and 4th grades, we are doing a better job of educating our African American and English learner students, who together make up the majority of our students, than our surrounding districts, including Berkeley, Oakland, and Hayward. We need to do an even better job with these students and all of our students, and we need to carry those positive effects forward into the upper grades. We will only get there if we continue to invest in our students and our teachers, and together develop and execute the smartest community-informed strategies we can generate. Finally, I'm pleased that the district is on the strongest financial footing I have seen in my tenure. Not too long before I joined the board, the district regained its independent status from the state after nearly going bankrupt. The superintendent's and the board's attention to costs and improving state economy have helped put the district on solid financial ground. This immediate past year, the district ended the year with $1 million surplus. The current year adopted budget projects the district breaking even, and none of the projected out years see the district falling below required minimum budget reserves. Even that good news will improve after new increased enrollment figures are factored in. I want to thank my fellow board members and the superintendent and the district staff, the teachers, and the parents for being part of a thoughtful, engaged school community. More than anything I brought to this effort, I've learned a great deal by engaging in this difficult and important work with you. Your dedication to improving the lives of our students has been and will continue to be an inspiration to me. Thank you. That is the President's report, and we are now on to consent items.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome. And you can say your goodbyes in December. Do we have any items that individuals wish to pull from the consent item, consent calendar?
So we're going to pull the personnel actions and postpone it to a later date.
That sounds like a good idea. So pulling personnel actions.
Oh, yeah.
Any other items to pull? All right. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
A roll call, please.
Member Ash?
Yes.
Member Collins-Rogers?
Yes.
Member Merriam?
Yes.
Member Pats?
Yes.
President Affelt?
Yes. Okay. Items 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3 of the consent calendar are adopted unanimously. We're on to discussion items. The first item, Superintendent, would you like to introduce the first item?
Yes, thank you. The first item, 6.1, is a public hearing to determine the sufficiency of instructional materials This is a yearly requirement that we complete this and make a report to the board regarding our sufficiency or insufficiency of instructional materials. And a public hearing is required so that members of the community can comment on this topic.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing on the sufficiency of instructional materials. Are there any members of the public who wish to, including teachers or parents or anyone here, wish to come forward and comment on the sufficiency of instructional materials in our district? Please.
I just know that there was a concern from Mrs. Fox that they only had 20 of the booklets for the children, and that they were trying to get the appropriate amount.
We did. Social studies? I think,
Yes, I
yes.
think so, and maybe the others, I'm not sure, with the
Yeah.
National Geographic.
What grade level?
First grade.
First grade.
Yeah.
Got it. We did. In fact, everything just came in the last couple of...
Look at him.
Oh, hi. Hi, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm not
Joey's
sure.
son has tried to take out the superintendent?
Yeah, it's a little early for his political move like that.
It's taken over.
So, sorry.
Christian, you're on.
I'll just, since there was a question, I think, I want to make this a lot better for next year, and you know, we should be ordering extra materials. We were not anticipating first grade to jump in enrollment to the extent it did, which we're happy about. And then we had some turnover with our director of instruction, so that and moving in all was the perfect storm for us. So, but all the materials were ordered, were rushed, and the last ones I think Ms. Kell delivered today herself. Thank you. Appreciate you letting us know.
So, Ms. Kell, can you come up and just confirm or not whether or not you were able to deliver materials today and address sufficiencies? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Identify yourself.
They need to hear you on the microphone.
Well, I can confirm that all the materials that the students need right now were delivered. Some of the materials that they may need later in the year are coming. We've ordered everything.
Say that again. So some of the materials they may need later in the year?
Later, yes.
Or
But
still-
right now, everything that students need, all the textbooks are in. Some are coming, are already en route.
The math books in particular, are many grade levels have 5 to 7 modules that they go throughout the year. So Ms. Kell focused on making sure everybody had what they need at this moment. I think a teacher is missing module 5 that they would need in February or January, so she's ordering.
But it's coming already in about a week at most.
I see. So we will have the future materials here much sooner than we actually
Then they
be.
will need them, yeah.
Okay.
So we're okay.
All right. Do you have anything else to add? Any other
no, we'll-
insufficiencies that you know about?
No, not that I know of. We are working very hard around the clock, ordering everything, rushing everything we can. A lot of it was because of the move also. And next year we'll do much better.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kell. Any other public comments on sufficiency of instructional materials? Okay.
I would also add thank you to Ms. Kell, because she's been working around the clock. So we do appreciate it, Ms. Kell.
All right. I'm going to close. Oh, Ms. Smiles? Yes, please. You have to come up and speak to the mic, please.
Audrey Miles, TK. While it's the importance of meeting the legal obligation, which suffices for the Williams Act, is important, I think it's also important that the teacher materials be made available. When she did her survey, yes, the student materials were in. However, we're piloting a program, and I don't have teacher manuals to go with them. So yes, obviously I've been teaching for enough years that I can figure it out on my own, because I do have the student materials. If we're actually looking for valid information as to whether a program is effective, it would be helpful to have the teacher manuals that go along with the piloted programs. I'm not sure that I'm the only one that affects. However, it does make it more difficult in lesson planning.
Thank you.
So Ms. Kell is saying the teacher manuals are coming as well, and can you tell us when you think they'll be here?
All the teachers' materials are ordered, and they're coming very soon. We also ordered a lot of supplemental materials, not only core materials, but all the core materials are already in place. So you'll get believe me, we appreciate how much you need your teaching materials.
Ms. Kell, and is it safe to say that should be here before the end of the week or by the beginning of next week?
Right,
Okay.
the latest, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Any other public comments on sufficiency of instruction materials? Yes, Ms. Wren.
Good afternoon, Tawhida Wren, and I'm the 6th grade math and science teacher, and I have to say that this is the first year out of 10 that I've received all of my math books for the students, for 35 students. I have 33 students, and we have all the math books and teacher edition, so I'm very pleased that we have that in place for all the modules for 6th grade math. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan.
Okay. Good to hear. Any other comments on sufficiency of instruction materials? Yes, ma'am, please.
Hello, I'm Noemi Almaraz. I'm a parent of a 3rd grader. And while this information is helpful, I'm curious, what is the process to determine the quality of the materials, the wear and tear, and how often the materials are replaced, and what that may look like, and if any changes may have happened, or if the move to ECCL campus has any impact on the ordering process or the evaluation of the quality of the materials.
Would you like me to take that one?
Sure. It is a component of sufficiency that they be up to date and in good condition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. Yes, the move did affect us in every way, unfortunately. However, not in terms of the quality. Teams of teachers met last year on an ongoing basis. I don't know if Ms. Wren or you or Ms. Miles were involved. You may have been involved in a very careful selection using rubrics to examine different materials from different publishers. When the Common Core curriculum came out a number of years ago, every publisher started stamping their existing books that they were ready, and so many of them are not. So in terms of quality, regarding part of your question, I think was around process. Teachers are involved in that. The state of California used to require a cycle, I think, of every 7 years, I believe, that you had to readopt new books from their list. That's no longer required as long as teachers are involved in the process, I believe, or parents, or both, I can't recall. So in terms of whether you order from their list or not. So in terms of quality, no, we're always doing our best, and right now we're at an added expense. We are piloting the 2 top English language arts curriculums the teachers chose themselves to check out this year, and it is an added expense because one of them it probably will not make the cut at the end of the year. As Ms. Kell alluded to, teachers have also requested additional supplemental materials and reading libraries, and we've gone ahead and ordered those as well just to make sure teachers have everything they need in place. Process-wise, teachers are usually involved in that. In terms of math, when I arrived a couple years ago, teachers were already starting to experiment with the math curriculum that Berkeley Unified and other districts have adopted, which is one of the better ones probably for math alignment in terms of Common Core. We're in our 3rd year of using that material. And it's hard. As Ms. Wren will testify as a new 6th grade excellent teacher, because she's always excellent, it's hard, and I think parents would share, and you might share as a parent, the math material looks very different. It doesn't look exciting. There aren't colorful pictures sometimes, and it's very rigorous and different than what what we may have experienced in terms of textbook materials. So I hope I answered your question then.
Yeah, what about the replacement if there is wear and tear, over the course of time? Like, what is the process?
Teachers should alert, and Ms. Kell, as Director of Instruction, is in constant contact with the teachers, so they should just alert Ms. Kell, and we are trying to expediently order what teachers need as soon as we know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sure.
All right. And I think a good portion of these materials are relatively new, isn't that?
Yes, the high school teachers just recently decided to adopt and revise some of their course materials. So in math, they're using new materials. I believe science, right? In science, they're using new materials as well. And I think the state is coming out with new social studies Common Core. Am I wrong about that? It's up to district. So I thought that I thought that they were. So, and then you have next generation science standards that most publishers aren't aligned to at all. So, but yes, many of the materials are new.
Okay. Any other public?
Mr. Davis may have some new textbooks, I believe, as well.
I do. I have all new textbooks. But the one thing that I found, and Lori McDonald found as we went through and looked for it, was that the difficulty was that the publishing companies really have cut back on what they're offering for ever since Common Core. So it was challenging trying to get a newer textbook because the selection had really dwindled. So that wasn't any school the problem in the district. That was every major publisher that we ran into. So.
Okay. Any other public comment? Textbook insufficiency or sufficiency? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and testifying. Public hearing on textbooks and instructional material sufficiency is now closed. We're going to move on to item 6.2, which is the resolution of sufficiency or insufficiency of instructional materials. Do you want to present this, Superintendent?
Yes, thank you. The purpose of this item is to, item 6.2 is to ask the board for their approval of the resolution for 2016-17-4 regarding sufficiency or insufficiency of instructional materials.
Okay, any questions of the superintendent or Ms. Kell on the resolution? Okay, see none. Any public comment on the resolution? The proposed resolution, if you don't have it in front of you, is to declare that we do have a sufficiency of instructional materials. I don't know why it's not the attachment I now have on my... I had the resolution on my agenda online the other night. Now I'm getting this as the attachment.
Three attachments.
There are 3 different attachments on that item.
I just see one. On 6.2?
Let me... there are 3 different attachments.
Well, I read it on last night, so I know what's in it. I assume it hasn't changed. But do we have a hard copy?
Yes.
Okay. Any public comment on our proposed resolution, which declares that we do have a sufficiency of materials? Okay. Any board discussion? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
You don't have a mic. Okay, Member Merriam has moved. Second from Member Ash. A roll call, please.
Member Ash?
Yes.
Member Collins-Rogers?
Yes.
Member Merriam?
Yes.
Member Pats?
Yes.
President Affelt?
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, we are on to item 6.3, the enrollment report.
Thank you. I'd point the board's attention to one item that I decided to put in front of us this evening, which is an Excel file. I think there's some that were on the back table if the audience wants to see them. It shows where the incoming 2016 parents were coming from in terms of online registrations. I thought it was interesting. I hadn't noticed this data before, and I wanted to put it in front of us because it gives us an indication of what schools, charter schools, and previous schools, students families who enrolled online had indicated that they were coming from. And I just thought I would share that with the board. As you can see, there is a deep variety of places, including besides Oakland and Antioch and Aspire and Berkeley Maynard and other school districts, and a number of small preschools that the kindergartners are at the bottom of your list, where we had parents coming to us to register to attend our schools this year. So I thought it was interesting information. What I would like to know is the opposite, which it's difficult for us with our staffing level, but I'm trying to see if we can't take some work on that, because what we've learned in the last few weeks regarding enrollment is we had about 30 to 40 families that went through the whole process of enrolling, brought in they went through all the online process, and they didn't show up. And we've lost a few families. We've lost a few families in the last couple of weeks who actually told Ms. Parham at the front office that we were their placeholder while they were on waiting lists for charter schools. So I was disappointed to hear that, obviously, because enrollment is a key issue for us. But I don't know, that that's true for all families who didn't come. But I was surprised to see 30 to 40 families go through the entire online registration process and simply not come. We're going to, I'm sorry? That's a norm. Yeah, I see year to year a lot of people coming in, a lot of people going out. And I know people move and change jobs or their residence, but it is interesting to me, and it was it throws us off a little bit, because while I am very excited about our key indicator grades of 6th grade and 9th grade, and kindergarten staying constant, we've never seen the numbers since my time here go back up like this, where people tend to change schools and leave schools, be as high as they are this year. Overall, the numbers aren't as large as I was hoping for, but I know we've got a very small senior class leaving. We've got a small 8th grade class that's been a small bubble for years, which really was, I think a couple years ago, many parents coming to 6th grade decided to go elsewhere. So that small bubble is coming through. But I thought I would provide and share this information tonight. If we can find out and go through and contact the parents who registered but didn't come and find out why, I will try to do so. But I wanted to share what I could with the board. I'll point your attention to a different chart. There's some on the back table if you don't have it. It has
before you leave
I'm sorry.
this chart.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I know in the past, before I was on the board, and it was maybe when we had the outreach coordinator position, every family that left, it was attempted to have an exit interview with them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just something to consider. We may not have the staffing for that anymore, but maybe it could be part of someone's job.
Possibly part of the parent outreach coordinator. That would be a
yes,
good thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Also, I'm curious to how many folks from ECDC and how many folks from
One.
our Head Start program.
2 and 1.
I see a few on there. Is that the total?
Yeah, at the bottom, I think we have our incoming.
That seems lower than expected or normal? Or typical?
I don't know. Ms. Miles may know as well. It seems like there's just a few students sometimes who come over from ECDC or Head Start. I'm not sure how many. Is that true? A couple every year? You want to come up? Ms. Miles does a great job every year going to those classrooms and presenting as well.
It's one of our kindergarten teachers.
Yes.
So part of the problem this year was just coordinating it. We did attend both the Y, and because of timing, there weren't a lot of parents that showed up for the presentation that we did.
Okay.
At ECDC this year, there was transition in that their director was not there. We did go, and we ended up, there were like 3 parents that did go. But what had happened in previous years was that prior to June or later in the year, there were several attempts to go and have conversations with ECDC, so that we built on that relationship. We also did things like invite them over to activities that we were having, and so it might be a good idea based on that to start doing that again. We invited them to the Harvest Festival. We invited them to other activities that we had so that they would start participating more as part of our community. And at the end of the year, there usually is an opportunity where those students come and visit the campus. And so they get an idea of what it's like, and their parents are also able to visit. And we also had days when people can come and take tours. So those things need to be put back in place if that's where you're reaching for the Y and ECDC.
Great, thank you. Is it true over the years? Has it just been a few? I guess I was wondering that. Per
I'm
year.
sorry, what was the question?
About how many students per year do we get from the ECDC and Y?
I can remember in kindergarten that I had, in previous years, I had more students coming from ECDC.
Okay.
This was a year that I say very, 3, that's that's low.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, you want to go on to the chart?
Yes, thank you. The chart has our key indicator grades where we have transition to kindergarten, TK kindergarten, excuse me, 6th grade and 9th grade. I think these are very positive for us because, as I was saying, these are the critical times, as you know, when parents are transitioning or making decisions to change schools potentially. We have some excellent 6th grade teachers this year, Ms. Wren, and we're always working hard to find the strongest teachers. And I think that as parents get more and more confident about our programs and what we can offer and what we can do here, and as we continue to improve that with high quality teachers, because that's really what makes the difference. I think that we're going to see these numbers continue to go in a positive direction. So that makes me happy. The wash in and wash out, so to speak, of people coming in and leaving didn't change our numbers overall dramatically as I thought that they would be. When I last reported to the board in any public events, I was basing my estimations off of the online registrations and didn't realize so many parents would go through this and then simply not show up. So overall, the numbers are holding steady, and I believe if these key indicator grades are any indication, they will eventually continue to go up. Yeah.
So the numbers are reflected on the second page, and our total enrollment is about what it was last year.
It's running about the same right now, yes, with probably anywhere from 60 to 85 parents leaving, 60 to 100 maybe leaving, coming in, just in terms of this transfer of people transitioning. But yes, they're about the same overall.
Okay. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Did you look at, the senior class is our smallest class. Do we know what happened to those 8 kids?
We don't know yet. I had some anecdotal data from Ms. Good regarding some personal issues and regarding their home life and things that were happening, but I don't know offhand the situation for all 8.
Is the, I know we approved a job description of the bilingual parent outreach coordinator a couple of weeks ago, but I'm not recalling sort of outreach for enrollment purposes playing any role in that person's job. Can you address whether that's going to happen?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, is that parent outreach coordinator going to do any of this sort of outreach around enrollment, so maybe helping the teachers set up times for meeting at, whether it's
I believe
ECDC or Head Start, or doing other things?
I believe it's in there. That job description has a lot of different things in it, and a number of things also related to helping make sure students are coming and getting to school and attending. And so I suspect that enrollment is a piece of that. I'll have to go back and take a look, though. I certainly think it's a good fit for that role.
Yeah, it would make sense for that to be part of it and provide some support there. Any other board questions, comments? Do we have any public comment on this item? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I actually wanted to ask about overcrowding. I know you guys are looking at numbers to get more students enrolled, but there seems to be an overcrowded issue. My daughter, she's first grade, and there's like 26 first graders in her classroom. And a lot of them have behavioral issues. So I wanted to know what you guys were doing about that. And also, is there any chance that we can get like an aide in the classrooms? I try to come out as much as possible to volunteer. I came and went with her to music class, and I was just so happy, excited that they have music class here. But sitting in the classroom, she won't really be able to benefit from it because some of the kids were jumping around, jumping off the chairs, punching each other. So I came here tonight to ask about that. Like, her class is overcrowded and the behavioral issues are too much. And it was like that last year as well. So are you guys working on that?
Well, I can share with you that, you know, we endeavor to keep our class sizes low. I know at different grade levels it differs. I know that I believe the 4th and 5th grade classes usually are very large. I think last year, I don't know offhand, this year they were running around 32 or 34 students probably. There are many school districts with first grade classes, my wife being one of them, in the 2nd grade in Redwood City with 31 second graders. And so it really is dependent on how many kids. We weren't anticipating that many first graders coming in. Now, at some point, if those numbers, if the demand were to continue, we would have to add a teacher. Right now, though, in the district's opinion, 26 students is not, while our teachers may not be used to it over the years, it is not something that would be able to justify a $100,000 a year or $120,000, whatever it is with benefits position for an additional teacher at this point. So I do know the teachers, all teachers would prefer the smallest class size possible because it does make things easier. I understand that, but at this point, I believe that we're okay in terms of our staffing.
Okay, and what about the behavioral issues that a lot of the students seem to have? That's
a very good question. In my experience, those behavior issues come and go sometimes depending on what classroom that the students are in. I've seen students, particularly you see it at middle school and many middle schools, that students go from class to class depending on the adults in the room and how effective they are. Those students are, if they're not engaged with their board or they don't sense the teacher's respect and authority, they will jump around or they will not be behaving themselves. So it concerns me, some of what, I appreciate what you're saying tonight. I do worry anytime I hear that a class is acting in that way because some of my first questions are, you know, is the teacher engaging them as soon as they come in? Are the kids interested? Does the teacher have a relationship with them?
Yeah, it seems to be better this year. Her teacher is really engaged. She's a great teacher, but I mean, there's the behavior issues are still there. I see a lot of the students who she was in the same class with them last year, and they're rolling over on the floor, they're jumping off the desk, and it's like it's out of control. She come home and tell me stories of things that went on in the classroom, and she's very well behaved, so it's just sad that she have to be in a classroom and she can't really benefit because of the issues. And then what number do you guys need to get to in order to get an aide in the classroom? What number, 40 or?
We don't have it.
Number.
There's not a magic number for us on that typically, and so it's not something that school districts have to look at that and whether in terms of the effectiveness of that position, spending that money, and so that's I don't have a definitive number for you on that.
Okay.
We have 2 aides.
We currently have 2
And
instructors.
do they spend time in the and maybe, you know, are they able to spend more time in the class, the grade levels that have more needs? And more
I'll have to
students?
check their schedule. I know they do rotate through different classrooms.
Yeah, I know the ladies. I think they're work in the lunchroom.
They do that as
Yeah,
well. They do
I'm-
part of the time as lunchroom.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm usually, you know, I come and go when I can, and I see them rotating the classrooms. But even when the 2 of us was in the music room, it was still out of control. So I just had those questions for you guys, see if you guys were trying to do anything about it.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have other public comment on this item? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Laura Scriba, and my son is in the 1st grade. I just want to second her concerns. I actually come and volunteer 4 days a week for that reason, because when I first came in, I was just the behavioral issues, and I think just wanting to know the kind of track of how to deal with the behavioral issues. You know, I see the kids constantly going to the office. They go in, they come back in the classroom, and they act the exact same way. And wishing there was an understanding of how that is supposed to progress and how we are able to provide the support that the kids need. I understand that there can be, you know, issues where the kids need a little more support, and there's issues going on at home and all those things. So it's not necessarily that I'm looking for hard and fast disciplinary rules that need to be put in place, even though that would be nice to know exactly where the school stands on that. I would like to know where to get that information, but also how is it that we go about getting these kids that consistently every day, multiple times a day, and me feeling like you know, nervous about my kid being in the classroom because the kids are so aggressive. And there's been other incidences at the school where kids have been hurt. And constantly feel like I'm breaking up fights and stuff like that between kids, but not knowing exactly where it is to go to get support for the children. Like she's saying, like, is there a way to get aides in? I feel like our 1st grade teachers do an amazing job of holding down the fort. You know, Miss Fox does an amazing job. When they go out to the more the prep classes, I find that's where it really tends to fall apart. And just wondering, you know, what is my son really getting out of a lot of this is because the behavioral issues take over a lot of the class. And so I just want that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
So
for
I
your
know it's not an
comment.
easy question, but maybe another time would be a great time that I could speak with someone. I am new to the school, so just learning the ropes of where to go as well. But
And I would point you to the principal and Mr. Rogers also, who's working with our new efforts at a positive behavior system. And so either Ms. Lang or Mr. Rogers probably would be a good person to follow up with.
Okay.
But I appreciate both your feedback tonight and input, because I know these are real issues that you're bringing up.
okay, thank you.
And that was going to be my question, is we have a new positive behavior intervention support coach.
Yeah.
Does he work in the 1st grade? Does he go down that?
He's working up and down in different
Good.
grades, yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'll ask him and Ms. Lang, because another idea occurred to me that I won't take us more into this right now, but I'll follow up with Ms. Lang on some other ideas, maybe how we can lend some other support to 1st grade.
Okay. Other public comment? Member Pats, did you have a comment?
I just want to thank both parents for volunteering in the classroom. I think community involvement's really important here, and it's how we're going to improve things. So I just wanted to take a minute and acknowledge and thank you both. I really appreciate it, and it's invaluable. And there's going to be more opportunities for parents to participate in the school as we go through the agenda this evening. So thank you.
Yeah.
Hear, hear. Okay, any other board comment? This was an information item. So we're going to move on to item 6.4. Do you want to introduce this?
Sure. 6.4 is the process to fill our anticipated board vacancy. This is just an information item regarding our upcoming anticipated vacancy. And the purpose of this item is for the Board of Trustees to simply receive information that we make public and give to the board when this occurs, and this item has that information attached.
This particular item is a specific action item, is it not, to decide whether or not we're going to call for an election, or?
That'll be the next item.
That's the next item.
Yeah. So this is the information where we provide the education code related to the next item.
Okay.
And I can add, for the public's benefit, that the school board has two choices, two main choices, and when this occurs, one is to call for an election which has some monetary expense connected to it, or the school board has the ability to decide to appoint someone when there's a vacancy.
Okay. Are there any questions for the superintendent about the process presentation? Any public comment on the process? Okay, why don't we move on to item 6.5 then, the determination on the, do you want to comment now or at the next item? Okay. All right, determination on the process to fill anticipated board vacancy.
Just 1 second, I'm sorry, my page is out of order. That's 6.4. Item 6.5, let's keep us going, is a request for the board to make a decision regarding what action it wants to take to fill the vacancy. Will the school board be determining that there needs to be an election, or will the board be making a decision to appoint a new board member?
Okay. It's been our practice to fill the position by appointment because calling an election is both time-consuming, quite expensive. The estimate is $29,000 to $40,000. The district would have to pay for to the county to run an election. So those are the facts presented on this agenda item. Do we have any questions for the superintendent?
Quick question. I just noticed the attachments to both of the items. Are they the same? Ed Code 5. Okay, I just want to make sure because there was a reference to a PowerPoint attachment on the first.
That's one of the attachments on 6.4.
All right, thank you.
Any public comment on determining the process to fill a vacancy before we get to discussion of it?
Yeah. As a teacher, I'm always in favor of putting money in the classroom where it does the best. So if we can save, I'm going to say first a couple of things. I'm going to go off a little bit, and I thank John for giving up and I'll thank all of you, because I know you give up your family life every other Wednesday to come here and stay to the wee hours.
Where you bring them?
I know it's a demanding job, and you're kind of hidden from the public. They don't really appreciate, I don't think, what it takes. And I know it takes a lot. That said, I would trust this board to make the right decision and appoint someone who has the best interest of our children, the best interest of our schools, to sit in that chair and carry on. So with that, I thank you. Have a good trip to Spain. And, you know, John, a sabbatical to Spain sounds good for people that put in enough years. I was just, you know, hint, hint, but.
I'll take that under recommendation. Thank you.
Okay.
It's probably
Any other public comment? Yes, Ms. Miles.
Audrey Miles, teacher, TK. I do appreciate, John, all of the work that you've done on the board and your assistance in getting us through this process of the opening of the new ECCL. And I do recognize all of the hard work that all board members put through. Being that I'm an ex-board member,
Yes, you are.
I do feel your pain on a given day. I do believe that at this point, with the opening of the ECCL, if we are appointing someone, I'm hoping that it be someone who is teacher-driven and student-driven, someone who is interested in the process of the success of the ECCL and the future of this school district. It's clear to me that, you know, this election that's coming up, that we do have some, you know, some concerns with whether or not current candidates are having the best interests of the Emory Unified School District. It pains me that we as a district have put out millions of dollars to build this beautiful facility, and yet we're not appreciating it and looking to dissolve our district. So with any candidate that comes in that is interested in participating in this district and the ECCL, and this should be in the best interest of our students and in the best interest of teachers and maintaining this as a unified school district.
Thank you, Ms. Miles. Do we have other public comment? Okay. Board discussion. Let me say I agree with Ms. Miles and Mr. Davis that well, first of all, I think we should fill the vacancy by saving money and following our usual practice of appointing a board member. Second of all, I think we should do that with dispatch so that there's not a lengthy period where there's only 4 board members sitting, but that we appoint a person who can take over as soon as I step down. And the statute is constructed that way, that one can give 60 days notice, and that the board has 60 days to appoint someone who can take over when the departing member steps down. So I think we should take advantage of that, and I think this board is the board that I trust to fill my seat. And I am concerned that we have candidates, at least one who is proposing to dissolve the district and merge with Berkeley, even though that would raise everyone's taxes 50%, and at least for our young African American and Latino students, not get any better results and not get even as good a results as we're getting. And we have another candidate who's supporting, it appears, giving our dissolving this board and letting the city council become the board and decide the direction of the district. I think the city council is a great partner, but they have different interests and focus than running a school district. You know, they're concerned about parks and making sure that the area out here is good for public parks, and we want to make sure it's good for being a playground. I mean, I think it's important to have an independent voice, and that we ought to have a board that believes in the vision of ECCL and the K-12 community school and remains independent. So it would be my recommendation that we do pursue that effort to start the process immediately to fill the vacancy, and by appointment to take over as soon as I step down. Other thoughts or comments?
Yeah. I agree with Mr. Davis. My 2 cents. Yes, I agree with Mr. Davis, and that my 2 cents is to keep the 29,000 in the classroom for our students and our teachers, not on an election.
I feel like because I went through the appointing process, and I know with this upcoming election, it does become a bit tedious on finances and time. It would be in the best efforts for Emory Unified School District to go about that process once more. I can say from experience that those who are out there watching on TV, or those of you in the crowd, if you're not a district employee, definitely, you know, step up. It's not, you know, it's not hard. It really isn't. I came back to help my community. We can all help our community, and so if you feel as though you have that time and that you have the patience to be on this board, do it, because it's not just, you know, labeled for one specific person. It's not labeled for just one specific type of group. It's for everybody, and this community is for everybody, and this school district is for everybody. So therefore, go about it. Create that change that you want to see. And so I just pose that option to everyone out there that just, you know, step up.
Okay. Other comments?
So I agree with the idea of saving the money. I am given pause that this is going to be a 2-year appointment, and it seems to me that we've gotten the majority, myself included, of members of the board as appointees, and not having gone through an election and letting the residents of Emeryville choose their school board. And I just want to point that out, that's, you know, there are challenges, and I even look at this year's slate of candidates. That said, I do want to encourage the parents that are here this evening that if you are Emeryville residents, to look into it if you can put the time in. It is an amazing experience to serve on the board and see how the school is run. You know, in Emeryville it's particularly hard because, you know, and it's going to be a loss, John, as you're one of the only people who's got a kid in the school. And so I'd love to see another parent with a child that actually attends an Emory school on the board. And it also bothers me that in Emeryville we've priced out any teacher. You know, it's hard to it's hard to pay Emeryville rents or mortgages on a teacher's salary. And so I would love to see an educator also on the board. So that's my thoughts, but yeah, save the money on the election.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Sorry, that's not helping.
All right, so we have a motion, and your motion is to?
Motion is to go with the application for filling the vacancy. It would be the, we have the two. Fill the position by appointment. Thank you.
Seconded.
Roll call?
Member Esch?
Yes.
Member Collins Rogers?
Of course.
Member Merriam?
Yes.
Member Pats?
Yep.
President Affeld?
Yes. The motion passes unanimously. Now we're on to item 6.6, which is the application and selection process. Superintendent, do you have a proposal?
We have an item 6.6, the purpose being to determine the application selection process. We have the application form that we last used. I believe we've updated it with some dates. And we have a timeline, also a draft timeline if it meets with the board's approval. I'd ask that you take a look at both of these and let me know if you have any direction for any changes.
Again, I'm only seeing the application. Oh, wait. If I hit, okay, sorry. If I hit that little button, which I've never seen before.
I hate
I've never had to hit
I hate when that
before.
happens.
That little thumbtack?
Really?
I've
It's probably an upgrade. Your
maybe.
iOS.
Never had to do that before. Anyway, so I now see a timeline. All right, well why don't we start there? The timeline you're proposing is publishing a notice of vacancy on Monday, the 17th, and applications being available on Monday, the 17th.
Correct.
The board deciding on specific interview questions on the 26th at our next regular board meeting in October. Closing the application period in a month on Wednesday, November 16th, and sending the application packets to board members the next day, and having a special meeting on Friday, the 18th of November, to decide on applicants to interview and finalize interview questions, and notifying candidates on Monday, the 21st, who's going to be interviewed, and then conducting those interviews at a special board meeting on Wednesday, November 30th, and deciding either at that meeting on the 30th or on Wednesday, December 7th, on an appointment. Is the 7th a regular scheduled meeting? So that would also be a special meeting.
Yeah,
if,
I'm sorry, I
if
think
needed.
we're missing that. That would be a special as well.
Okay. Any questions of the superintendent on the proposed timeline? Any public comment on the proposed timeline? Sorry, Mr. Davis, I didn't know if you're rising to comment or rising to depart. Okay. Discussion?
Minor thing, were these the same number, were these the same contacts as far as the notice for vacancy distribution for the last opening?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments or questions? Did you want to publicly comment? Throw it out.
When are new board members?
New board members are sworn in at the reorganization meeting.
It's our first regular board
Which is
meeting.
our first regular
December.
board meeting in December, which
Correct.
this year I believe is the 14th.
That's correct.
So, other questions or comment? I mean, I think this is a reasonable 60-day schedule. I mean, it does put in, you know, I think the 2 special meetings as proposed, potentially a third, but the first one would probably be relatively short in just deciding on the applicants, finalizing questions, and then the special board meeting, which probably is good as a special board meeting. I think it almost always is, where we actually interview the candidate. Yeah, that's always a special. We don't want to do that at a regular board meeting.
No. And November and December, we usually only have one board meeting because of
Right.
the holidays. So that's
good.
part of the reason.
That's a good point. I think, do we right now have one November and one December board meeting?
That's
So-
correct. That's why we
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
specials.
So that would not actually increase our average monthly board meeting rate. Any other comments? Is this a action item? Should we actually?
Yes, the application as well, and the timeline.
They're sort of separate things, so.
Sure. You want to hit
So
one
why
at a
don't,
time?
why don't we separately,
Okay.
do we have a motion to adopt the vacancy timeline? Appointment timeline, rather?
So moved.
Second?
A roll call?
Member Ash?
Yes.
Member Merriam?
Yes.
Member Pats?
Yes.
President Affelt?
Yes. Okay. Application to fill board vacancy.
These are the questions that the board revised last year, so I don't know if you have any changes, but if you do, certainly let me know.
Yes, I just recall, did we had a selection or a slew of questions for the applicants in their interview, correct? Okay.
Those are the interview questions that
Okay.
we'll decide.
right.
That's correct.
So they will be responsible for attending and being oral examination, if you want to call it that.
That's correct.
The ones we select
Inspect,
to interview.
yes.
This is pretty recent. We just did this in February, right? For Member Collins Rogers. So
Right.
this looks fairly up to date. The one I would suggest adding Ms. Miles's question, which is what is your commitment to maintaining the Emory Unified School District as a K-12 school district, unified?
Okay. All right.
Other thoughts? Okay. Any public comment on this aspect of the item?
Hello. Just along the lines of what Ms. Miles commented, not just what is the candidate's commitment to the district, but also to ECCL, and maybe some questions relating to any ideas that he or she may have about strengthening the partnership with the city and really being able to come together in a true partnership and utilizing not just city funds, but definitely protecting the funds of the school district, because we know that the majority of our budget really comes from the ADA that we receive, and that's all tied into the enrollment, but really trying to gain more support from the city as far as their services that may be available, public safety and parks and recs. What's their interest and commitment to really being able to have that partnership to really increase the success of the ECCL project now that it's here.
Said like a potential future board candidate, I think. Thank you.
We have, what is your understanding or view of the ECCL project as a question? I would suggest, Superintendent, that we keep track of and consider for an interview question the sort of city partnership vision piece of that.
Gotcha.
But maybe others have thoughts. Any other public comment on this piece? Okay, do we have a motion to adopt this application form as amended? I'll move.
I will second.
Roll call, please.
Member Ash?
Yes.
Member Merriam?
Yes.
Member Pats?
Yes.
President Affelt?
Yes. The motion passes 4-0 with Member Collins, Rogers absent. That was the same vote on the appointment timeline. Okay, I think that concludes this item. We're on item 6.7. Would you like to introduce that?
Yes, thank you. We have outstanding compliance issue to make sure we have gone back to look at our local educational plan that was required. It used to be required every 5 years under No Child Left Behind, or NCLB. Every 5 years, school districts were to submit a new local education plan, and a lot of that now, in my mind, is replaced with the local control accountability plan, which I think is comprehensive. And I would love, Member Affelt, you probably always will hear me say this, that this, I don't know if the state will ever consider making the local control accountability plan the plan and not continue with all the other plans that are required. But
we're working on the integration.
That being said, there is a compliance issue still under No Child Left Behind that before this Friday, I communicate to the board an update on the last things that were in the local education plan. So I updated the board on the previous performance goals to improve reading and math, to make sure all students are taught by highly qualified teachers is another goal, and that students are educated in learning environments that are free that are safe and drug-free and conducive to learning. So I've pulled together that information. Much of it resides already in our local control accountability plan, or our LCAP, just so the board has it, and I have done my due diligence tonight to present this information as I will report to the state that was done and show them the agenda as evidence. So this is an information item only.
Can you tell me how we're doing on having all students taught by a highly qualified teacher, as defined by, meaning a fully credentialed teacher?
I don't believe we have any teachers who are not fully credentialed. So yes, we're in terms of the category of highly qualified as defined by the statutes, I think that we're doing very well.
We're at 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
with credentials.
Is good in this era of increasing shortages.
It is good. It is a very difficult time to find teachers, and it's getting harder and harder.
And we currently have a vacancy, right?
And we currently have unofficial vacancy that we're searching for, yes, so to speak, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Questions, other questions from board members?
Yes, I do. Kind of dovetailing with the topic of just discussed. I know last year you gave effort to fill the vacancies. Taking in a year-round approach, have you doubled your efforts even at this time of year as far as seeking qualified candidates?
We're about to post for next year.
Okay.
I've decided we're going to go ahead and start posting for positions just in case.
How is this in comparison of last year's with your efforts? Same time frame, or are you actually expediting it this time?
No, we were told by candidates who interviewed we were ahead of most districts last spring. I think we started in February or March, but I haven't got to say this to Mr. Davis yet, but I think that we're going to start posting in general, particularly for the hard-to-fill positions every year, because we never know from year to year if a teacher will continue on with us or we will not want a teacher continue on. So we want to start posting and talking to the universities about anyone they have in their programs now. So I'm planning on starting that in the next few weeks.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other board comments, questions? Public comment on this item.
Just a blurb that some of the California Teachers Association announced that the need for teachers, they were only producing 40% of the need coming out of the schools right now. So it's kind of grim.
Yeah, it does concern me greatly, and I know even the organizations like Teach for America are no longer even, they're trying to recruit, and they haven't been able to meet their commitments to districts. There's just a massive nationwide shortfall for teachers. I appreciate you letting us know that.
I am the BITSA coordinator, which is no one called BITSA. I'm the induction liaison. So one of the comments that I would have is that where we have teachers, we have a large amount of teachers this year who are first and second year teachers. And today at the county office, one of the main discussions is about providing resources for those teachers. So I think anticipating needs of teachers, be it class PD, the St. Mary's is offering specific classes in reference to classroom management, where there is a need and you see a teacher who is struggling. I think the goal should be to provide resources for the teachers that we have and try to maintain that and put some money into that process. And if we see someone who is struggling at this point, we should be reaching out to those particular teachers and providing them professional development and assistance, even past their mentor as far as support. And that would be a way of looking at it other than waiting until there's a problem and someone leaves. I think we had this discussion last year. This is my third year as the liaison, so it's one of the things that I really want to focus on this year is the resource piece for teachers.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that because I forgot in my board report regarding this Friday and being a no school day for us that in fact we're taking a group, very small group of teachers with the coaches to focus on classroom management and different things. And so I appreciate you saying that, and please don't hesitate to let me know as we go along any support ideas that you think we need so that I can follow up and make sure that happens. Thanks.
Okay, other public comment? That's good. All right. Not an action item, just information.
Correct.
So that concludes this item.
Yes.
We're on to board reports and announcements. Do you have any board reports?
Yeah, so a couple of quick things. I had the pleasure of coming out last week to the movie. Saw a few people out there that are in the audience tonight, and the police did a wonderful job. It was Utopia. Always happy to see a Pixar film. The highlight was when they passed out popsicles as the movie was having popsicles, so it was kind of a nice touch. They did lollipops, but I thought that was really inventive of the police officers, and I did hear a lot of support for a SRO, both from talking to police lately in general and talking to the community. It's not something I'm a big supporter of, but I'm hearing a lot of support and a lot of will, so I can be convinced easily to get behind that. And then the other thing is I've been meeting with an old friend who happens to be or was a board member at EBI and is on the board of an organization called Aim High. And so I'm going to ask the board, and I was hoping they were going to mail me their literature and they didn't get it to me in time for this evening, but Aim High partners with schools to run summer programs for middle school. They do Rising 6th, 7th, and 8th. They're partnered at a few schools in San Francisco and things. So I'd like to throw it out there that I'd like to have them come and present and talk to us because I think we've identified middle school as a big need. You've talked about our successes, but we see the scores significantly change once kids hit 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And so I think it's an opportunity. They get a lot of community support from here in Emeryville as well. There's businesses here that are behind them. And it's a nice 5-week program that looks at all aspects, both academics, collegiate, and social emotional. So again, I've not seen it firsthand, but I'd love to have them come present. We have a few meetings coming up, so I'm going to ask to get on that, formally ask to get on the agenda because I think it'd be a nice to target kids You know, I always worry about the retention. We've got good numbers, but I just think this is a way to retain and, more importantly, attract students, because it wouldn't be just Emory students. It would be up into all kids, and they have a nice network to bring kids in from this area. And so we could potentially increase enrollment through the process as well. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'll just add that I'm actually scheduled to have coffee or lunch with maybe the same person, because I'm excited about the potential of that program. I think Member Affelt has also been in contact with them at some point. No? Oh, I thought they had told me they had contact with you.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe they may have met Member Pats. They told me aboard. I can see how they get you guys confused.
Yeah. It's easy. Any other board reports or announcements? What happened to Miss Ash? I hear her little one. Okay. No board reports or announcements? Okay. All right. Calendar review?
Yes. This Friday is our Staff Professional Development Day, and so there's no school for students, and if parents need any childcare, they can, if they're already registered in the after-school program, they can go online with a link that we sent and just pay for the day. I think the resident rate versus non-resident rate is a difference of $1. I think it's $25 or $26 per day. I'm not sure exactly why that is. But if you're not, a parent is not currently a member of the after-school program, they can get registered with the city so that their child can attend and have child care this Friday. So this Friday is Staff Professional Development Day for no students, and our next Board of Trustees meeting is on October 26th at 6 p.m.
Okay. All right. That adjourns our open session, and the board will now adjourn to closed session. Thank you.